Why doesn't India have its own video games? In countries like the US or Japan, gaming is huge. It is among the most popular forms of entertainment.
And Skybox will be released to take advantage of the 7800's great graphics, lifelike animation.
Even very tiny nations like Poland, Sweden, or the Czech Republic have managed to make video games that are global successes with critical acclaim. But when it comes to video games for the Indians and by the Indians, there isn't much.
World of Xbox 360.
Is it because of a lack of social acceptance for video games as a medium of entertainment? Probably. Atindra Bose, the former head of PlayStation India, has admitted that it is difficult to convince parents to buy video games for their children. But things are changing, and they are changing fast. In order to understand what's ahead for video games in India, we need to look at the market. The growth rate of our media and entertainment industry is twice as fast as the global average. India also has the second largest internet population, and this is coming from a country of which only a third of its citizens have internet access. So the potential there is huge, and this figure of the people getting internet access is just increasing. The internet adoption is going to be mobile first, as in the people who are going to get internet are most likely going to get it through their smartphones. And did I just mention that India has the fastest growing smartphone market or the second largest mobile advertising market? So it's quite easy to draw a conclusion here.
Gaming is going to be huge on mobile.
In a market like this, it only makes sense to make games for smartphones. That is why you see a lot of Indian game devs focus on mobile games and not PC or console games. Even video game companies that were started before the smartphone revolution, like Dhruva Interactive, have only outsourced work for AAA games like Quantum Break, Halo 5, Forza, and the upcoming Spider-Man game for PS4. Making a good high quality video game requires a lot of money, and given the relatively low sales of gaming consoles and high-end gaming PCs in India, it is just not that feasible to have such a large budget to make games. So it is hardly surprising that Indian game developers go for cheaper to make mobile games. In fact, 96% of Indian game devs are working on mobile games right now. Look, I'm not saying that mobile games are bad. It's just that they tend to focus on a more casual crowd, and they'll never be as sophisticated as video games on consoles or PCs. And what's disturbing to see is Indian game developers, many of them working on games based on movies right before their release. And as you can clearly see, games like these tend to be really rushed and really awful. I mean, look at this abomination. This is truly an abomination. In fact, the Indian game developers who do make mobile games are forced to make their games free to play.
Obviously, it is still very difficult to stand out in free to play, but your chances of getting downloads are obviously a lot more.
Free to play is your best means of getting FaceTime, getting that initial buy-in.
Feedback from publishers and they said the market is moving towards, and we could also feel the market is moving towards free to play.
Because in order to buy an app, you need a credit card. And in India, only 2% of consumers have a credit card.
It's not necessarily with the will to pay. The will to pay exists. Indians don't have the means to pay, which essentially means that there is no infrastructure for payments.
Another obstacle here is a lack of game development talent. There are many software engineers in India, but very few who actually specialize in game development and design.
passion-driven indie game development is still sort of scarce in India, is what we feel.
I'm not saying that there's no potential here. What I'm saying is that I will still be playing video games made overseas for years to come.